Put that coffee down.
You genuinely go, oh, this is the right product for you. Like, I'm selling you into this because given the information that you've given me, and they're good at presenting the bullshit because they've presented it plenty of times. So you don't catch them in any of the lies.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, but there's none of that's true. So I don't actually have any of the money.
Yeah. So there's a way around that.
Yeah.
And I discovered that when I was selling. So I would get that all the time because I was talking with tradies all the time and they would sort of big nut themselves. And then when it came down to it, I was like, oh, like, and sometimes it's a case of like they haven't thought about it. So like they say things, but they're working on gross figures, but their nets are terrible. Like I had guys who were making $20 million a year, but they were netting like 100.
Yeah.
Like terrible business owners that just
yeah.
have no idea what they're doing. And so what I started doing is I started asking all the questions out of order.
Yeah.
So when I really honed that in with salespeople,
Okay.
right? When I was selling like NEPQ and stuff like that, I was like, okay, so what I need to figure out is how much money they're making and how much money they want to make so I can establish that gap because that gap is an important thing for me to get.
Okay.
Now, it's only an initial gap. I'll stretch that gap later if need be because I have to have like a stretch goal. You know what I mean? Like it can't be like they're at 10K a month, they want to get to 12. Like that's not, it's hard for me to leverage that. But like a lot of people, especially with like commission only work, like they think they're making more money than they are.
Okay.
And so what I'll do is I'll go like, okay, what's the sales process that you use? They go, I use triage and sales call. I go, okay, cool. How many sales calls do you take? How many sales calls do you take per week? And they go, I take 20. And I go, cool. How many triages show up? And they go 40. Okay, cool. And then I go, how many sales calls do you book? And they'll go this, you know what I mean? And they'll go 30. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they take 20. And how many sales do you make? And they go 7. And so then I'll go back up and like, okay, and how many leads do you get? And then I'll be like, okay, and how much do you make per sale? And they go, this many. And then I go, and what's your current? And then I'll go, and then like, and what's your like goal revenue? They go 12. And I go, and what's your current? They go 8. I go, but you make $1,000 a sale and you only make 4 a week. Mm-hmm. I go, so what's going on there? And they're like, oh yeah, I guess I hadn't thought of that. Right. So yeah, I'm making this. I'm like, okay, cool, like that. So I can. So
you'd be confident that you always have a true representation of
these days,
wealth and capability on the call.
Yeah, because I'll ask it so quick. Because I know what I need to do. I go this, that, and you ask it really quick, and I'm very staccato with the voice. This.
That would be an interesting thing. I think if you're watching, let us know if that do you have an actual flow chart that you follow on that's a real thing.
Yeah, especially for certain. So for all the accounts that we use, like we have the specific administrative questions that we need to get to. So you have an end question, and then you have like how do we get to the end question? Yeah. Because if you do it in order, it's too easy to lie.
Let us know if you want to make a special video on that with that as a handout. Put it in the comments. Comment down below.
Comment down below. Yeah. So because if you do it in order, like okay, how many leads do you get? How many of those leads convert into triage? What's your triage show up rate? How many of those go to a sales call? How many sales calls booked? How many sales calls show up? What do you make per sale? What's your income? It's so easy just to go, that you do it out of order. It fucks people up. And that became especially good when I was talking like selling Sales Sniper as a service. Because like I would just go all over the space over like 20 minutes of calls. I would ask them all these random questions and I would just write down all the answers. And then I would have like how many leads, how many triages, how many this, how much money, how many that and everything. And then I'd be like, so how much money are you guys making? Like, 150 a month. And I go, how?
Yeah. Doesn't add up.
And they go,
you got a side hustle, do you?
Yeah. Adorable. So I'd be like, but how? Because you're only making this many sales. You have this much back end revenue. This much front end can be done from that sales. Like, where's the other money coming from? They go, oh, well, we did 150 once.
That one time.
Like,
you could imagine if we did though, right?
So, it's a really important step to learn how to take as to how to ask those random questions to get to the real goal.
Yep.
So kind of going back to that sort of detachment, there's a nice long tangent there.
That's how podcasts work, mate. It's just two dudes waffling bullshit going around in circles.
Yeah.
As long as we find our way back.
As the Army once said, you signed up to us, we didn't sign up to you. No one's making you watch this. Right? So
keep watching.
That detachment comes from having a process that you're super confident in.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.